Product management teams are required to ask the why. They work around the why part or the problem side of the world, trying to work with the customer, trying to work with stakeholders on understanding how they can deliver value to the customer consistently. While the product management team focuses on that, the product ops team ensures that the product management unit is running like a well-oiled machinery. And if you are able to run it like a well-oiled machinery, that I think is a biggest proof or ROI that product ops is a success for you.
Welcome to Talking Roadmaps Season 2, where we're here talking about product operations. Today, I'm joined by Amit. Amit, tell me about yourself.
Hey everyone, this is Amit, and I'm excited to be your guest, Phil. The years being into product management, coaching, consulting, and communities, passion lies in creating product culture where everyone, from leadership to individual contributors, are building towards a common vision. Definitely thrilled to kick off this discussion and what lies ahead of guests. And I can't wait to hear your perspectives.
If you're enjoying the channel, subscribe, hit the bell, and give us a like. Love it, and I'm really pleased to have you. I mean, Amit, I think you downplay yourself a little bit there. Like, I know how heavily involved you are with the product community in Asia Pacific through Mind the Products, where we met. And I know that you're doing some great fractional work these days as well, and building a whole product organization out. So I'm sure you're going to bring some awesome insights. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I feel product ops, product road mapping is important and one of the crucial aspects of every product management journey. One of the reasons why I feel why do we need product ops or roadmaps is that we want to centralize our processes, to standardize workflows, we want to have better collaboration, and we want to build data-driven decision making. Product ops helps do that by standardizing metrics, by tracking and analyzing things, ensuring product managers have the insights they need. So I feel that why do companies need product ops is as they grow, as they scale, product ops lay the groundwork for consistent product development practices. Without it, growth can lead to chaos.
I mean, Amit, you got ahead there. You answered my first question without me even needing to ask. Why do we need product operations? I totally agree. I mean, I think we hit three of my favorite things there. We hit roadmaps, we hit decisions. Like, I'm a big believer in decisions, although you did use data there. And that to me is a little bit of a interesting one. I tend to use the phrase evidence informed these days. And the reason for that is because I think there are three aspects. There's both the data, the anecdotes or the feedback, the qualitative and the quantitative. But I think we also need to remember, as humans, we've got our intuition that we've got to think about as well. Like, the reason that we are product people and that we do this work and we bring some of that skill, sometimes it gets covered up in this phrase of product sense, which I hate, but it's like bringing that intuition, that kind of even critical eye that we bring as a product person to looking at those two different types of evidence and thinking about what should we really do as an organization. But I think we're really saying the same thing. It's just it's a taxonomy thing sometimes, or semantic thing.
Like you say, as evidence informed. And I have been advocating good product teams are the ones that make decisions faster and more often. Good decisions can come based on absolutely data for sure, but also based on intuitions. I think as Jeff Bezos or somebody famous said that, we are waiting for 100% of information to make a decision. We are already late.
In fact, that sounds similar to wisdom of Colin Powell, I think it was, who was US Secretary of State. He said, act when you have 70% of the information you'd like to have, but not less than 40. Because if it's less than 40, you're just guessing, and over 70, you're just going to wait too long. So I totally agree. So you're kind of framing product decision making as a central thing that product operations supports. Is that right? Is that your thought process?
So I think product thinking must revolve around how much of data we use and how much of intuitions we use. What is a healthy mix of these while building roadmaps or while laying out our matrix? Companies growth companies, and I have seen to grow into analysis paralysis, where you are looking for too much data before making a decision, and that slows growth, or that kind of leads to even missing out on opportunities. I feel building the mix of intuition driven decision making helps you get into the right mix.
One of the phrases you used there earlier as well was a good decision. Do you know you're making a good decision in advance?
Interesting. And we probably talked about one of the clients I worked with. We were working for one of the top 10 banks in the world, and were asked to build an amazing piece of feature, which was an on-prem feature. It was not part of our roadmap. However, we took a decision to build that feature for this particular client and see that if there were other customers who were wanting this feature. If we had gone by sense, reaching out first 5 customers who need it before even building it, we would have probably not been successful. So we co-created this with this one customer and then took it to 5 customers, which I feel was a good decision sense. Yeah, then the reference gave us other customers too.
I think you're hinting at some interesting large enterprise B2B, should we say, patterns that I also see. The reality is they're an oligopoly. The markets have a few large, powerful players, and you have to recognize that sometimes do as they ask.
That's another way to put that. Yes.
I worked for best part of 25 years in automotive. It's the same. There are 20 car companies in the world, but they exert a lot of power when you're a supplier in that industry. And sometimes you have to do what BMW, what Tata, what Hyundai, what whoever else is asking for. But the reality is, that they are following trends as well in their market, and the chances are that the competition in their market is going to have some similar needs. You go and look for those larger opportunities, but sometimes you've just got to flex, because actually winning one of those customers is probably still enough to make the business work, and it's probably an enhancement that goes around the broader product. So sometimes it can make sense, but also I think it was Daniel Elizalde in the 3rd or 4th episode of season 1. He talked about using the first 10 customers as your proxy for product market fit. I've seen industries where you can actually make that a much smaller number. Like I would say 2 or 3 in automotive is easily enough. And similarly, I've worked with a fintech recently where it's about 3 that they could use as that similar level.
This goes on number of customers. And I feel it could be newer ways of working while building product management, or still ensuring that you have a product market fit, creating with customers, and then ensuring that you have one successful outcome with one customer is also an approach towards building your products or ensuring you scale up in existing market. I operate a lot in India, and we have only about 20 to 30 major banks. That's our overall industry size. So companies takes building in this market have to cater to only one of that's our market size. Or maybe if it is Amazon or retail, there are just 2 or 3 big players.
So it's very similar to my experience in automotive. Like, we would first question anyone asked you in the sales cycle was, they'd say something like, "Great, that looks awesome. Who else is using it?" that case study was the key thing. You had to get that first reference customer. If I could say to VW that BMW was already using it, it's like, tick, okay, big German company is using it. We trust it. Let's move on. If I could say Tata was using it, big international automotive company, yeah, we can probably trust it. Let's move on. Now let's get into the really interesting conversation. But that was almost like a gateway to have some of the conversations that somebody else was using it. And so that need to find that reference customer with a level of co-creation was useful.
I like how you say about automotive and then creation. After you've gone through this first part, that's where the real magic happens, because there's a chance that you are not building completely, you are building a completely different solution. Do you ever come across those things?
There was always a challenge in that particular industry. We actually set our organization up on what we call the platform and solution structure. So the platform, we built the Lego blocks, and the goal was to have 80% of any solution in the Lego blocks. And then the solution team could assemble a solution, go direct to market, and the platform team would support any conversations where we were going through the OEM market, so dealing with the large companies, and then we'd have a professional services team that could actually do that tailoring, that tweaking of that last 20%. So we had to set the organization up to be able to serve that model, to think about what are the layers of, what's core, what's optional, what's configuration, and so on. So you have to design your organization to deliver in it. I mean, we've just taken the risk and we've gone down a rabbit hole, which is decision making, which is a particularly interesting one. I'm sure we'll circle back to it. But let's bring ourselves a little bit back to product operations. So we've kind of talked about why companies need product ops. How have you seen it set up differently in different organizations?
It varies widely. The short answer is some organizations have a dedicated ops department, especially the larger ones. There's distributed product ops responsibility amongst existing roles. So I have seen for a while that typically APMs, yes, are doing a lot of the work which product ops team have to do. Although the common pattern is ops, APMs or PMs who take care of work of product ops in smaller organizations, and then the bigger ones are dedicated. Usually the reporting lines are towards the PM or the chief product officer, or sometimes even to the chief strategy officer if you have a dedicated department. That's what has happened in my experience.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm definitely seeing that rise of the more dedicated function, but equally, for a long time, it was something I recognize that I and members of my team used to do as organizations.
And yes, sure. Did you also kind of have the deadline to COO or PO?
I was the highest point in terms of product leader. And so there were parts of it that I was taking care of, like our ways of working, should we say. I was something I took care of as a product leader, whereas there were things like the data side that one of my team was doing. And so that was kind of like the distributed version of it, I guess, before we had a name for it, before product ops was a thing, should we say. And I think that's really the thing. It's a trend over the last, let's say, 5 years for it to be an emerging function, I would say, of being there to enable us. And it's interesting that you mentioned the APMs doing some of the work. So when you say the APMs often end up doing some of that work, what sort of work is that they're doing?
And that's an interesting question, and that's something which we've been seeing in lead work as well. But typically, the key responsibilities what our product ops teams have is around process management. Defining what are the product development process we should follow, and running a sprint rituals, having those product launch checklists, to some points even writing release notes. And they work more on the tools and tech administration, especially managing Jira or any road mapping software or analytics software like Hotjar and others, Litude and Mixpanel and Pendo. So ensuring that these tools, we are getting the analytics in timely manner and regularly is what typical product ops work would be. Also, these teams are an integral part of governance and compliance, what you would call, especially around standardizing how product team documents decisions, handles approvals, it's customer onboarding, working with internal different teams on goals and customer onboarding. So in one of the companies I'm coaching currently, product op teams works closely with the technical writers in the team and helps them manage the user guide or gives information on product features.
Interesting. So I wonder, and this possibly is playing a little bit into something I see as a bit of an anti-pattern. But is there a risk that the people who are labeled as product ops are essentially being assistants to the product managers?
This should not be a risk as long as we have leadership ensuring that what a product ops team works and what product management teams works, and there is collaboration between these two teams. Though I see that miscommunicate ops teams if they over-engineer process or they ignore feedback, there is a good chance that they could overlap.
Yes, I was thinking in particular in that context of the distributed responsibility, not something where you have a dedicated team, but where it's the APMs and the PMs taking on parts of it. And potentially, if it's more towards the APMs, are they essentially being used to do the work that the product managers don't want to do as opposed to enabling? What's your thoughts there?
Yes, we do run a risk of that. At product ops, they can become company management and vice versa. However, in the teams where there is distributed responsibilities, and see this also as an opportunity for product ops team to learn about product management. As long as understand that this is a part where they are collaborating and not part of still day-to-day job. So yeah, we do run a risk that.
I think so far I've heard examples of responsibilities of enabling better decisions through making data available and kind of ways of working. What else in terms of responsibilities do product operations look after?
Most important thing product ops does is improves collaboration, with product managers, with different departments, and the gathering insights for product successes. What are the ways a product and where product is running? They also run cross-functional meetings or there are any product rituals. Especially in small companies, take a lot of administrative and operational tasks of product managers' plate, so they can, product management team can focus on discovery, strategy, execution, or whatnot. Say.
You talked about running rituals and things like that. Does that then start to overlap with what a Scrum Master might do?
Free does manage. It's kind of a friction point of what a Scrum Master might do, activities product owner might do. But then having clarity about roles, what a Scrum Master does and what product ops does, is kind of crucial to avoid duplication of effort. And Master does a lot of things around ensuring that strategy Scrum is followed well, and teams they have their own KRAs and KPIs. Product ops helps in running some of those rituals.
Maybe you can give me an example of the types of rituals that a product ops person might drive as an alternative.
I think definitely running the sprint, being in the roadmap planning meetings, ensuring that taking up some of the administrative and operational tasks of cross-functional meetings with the stakeholders, with the sales team, or with the marketing and technical writing team is what product ops can do. Take off the plate of product managers.
It's interesting because I'm hearing some of the things that I love doing as a product manager. And so I'm feeling that there's the risk of us ending up, instead of collaborating, fighting. There's maybe some friction or overlap. What are your thoughts around that?
There is an overlap in what a product ops does and product manager does. I think the question you're asking is, how do we ensure that, and you can think of this as an overlap, or you can think of this as a balance where product management and product ops are working together to build a successful product. So there is a tangible ROI just having these two roles as separate, product management and product ops, because so that you can have better product delivery, you reduce miscommunication and have less handoff errors. It kind of benefits the company's bottom line as well. And while there could still seem when roles which can be played by product management, but having them be separately and product ops taking up lead and streamlining processes, we can free up product managers to focus on high value activities, vision, strategy, product mapping exercises.
I love that because you've gone to where I was going next. You said there's an ROI for product operations as a separate function. How do we define that ROI? How do we really justify the existence of product operations?
Why? That's a very interesting question. Why do we need to have a separate team when we can load our product managers with some of the same work? Maybe let's call it, why do we need to have a separate department of product ops? Because it helps us increase our productivity. Product management teams are required to ask the why. They work around the why part or the problem side of the world, to work with the customer, trying to work with stakeholders on understanding how they can deliver value to the customer consistently. While the product management team focuses on that, the product ops team ensures that the product management unit is running like a well-oiled machinery. If you are able to run it like a well-oiled machinery, that I think is a biggest proof or ROI that product ops is a success for you.
I love it. And I loved the analogy of dancing. You wouldn't realize it while looking at me now, but I used to actually be a competitive dancer if we go back long enough. But yeah, so that kind of metaphor, thinking about it, it resonates well with someone who loves dance.
I'm not a dancer, but my wife is a Zumba instructor, and yeah, that's good. I don't know whether it borders dancing and exercising, so some days we do that, and yeah, it's fun.
There's something very primal about moving with rhythm as a human. It comes really to our core existence.
And I think this rhythm, when companies see that within the product management department, between product ops and product management, that can then be a little infectious, and then there are other departments which start following a rhythm. Or maybe product ops is a department that tries to bring a rhythm within a company, within a product management unit and within the company as well. Think of it as your Zumba instructor trying to tell everyone how to go into those moves.
So we're obviously on a channel that talks about road mapping, and road mapping has a rhythm and a cycle to it. And you've talked about possibly product ops helping facilitate some of those conversations. Really, let's go a bit deeper. How are product ops involved in road mapping? Because I can't not talk about it with a channel called Talking Roadmaps.
Yes. And yeah, I was wondering, when would this question come up about road mapping? When are we going to talk about roadmaps? But so yes, product apps, I have seen that they play a very, very important role in road mapping, especially in data collection, data consolidation. These teams collect data not only from stakeholders, but from tools like Hotjar. You get user information, you get your clicks, you get information about your product. And then he is putting that to make those decisions in a roadmap prioritization. They also would do that in, existing roadmaps are aligned to what our customers' needs are.
I'm a big believer that roadmaps are really an articulation of decisions on direction of travel. And yeah, we need a lot of insight to help us form them. So I think that kind of role in product ops of bringing those insights and help us make those choices is absolutely key. Now, as we know, product ops is relatively new and relatively nascent as a function. I guess that means it's evolving quite a lot in each organization. Do we need a roadmap for our product ops function?
Product ops, as you said, roadmaps are direction. And I think everyone needs that direction to grow. So do product ops. And that helps even a product ops function set up their own vision, set up their own accountability, and maybe help them improve continuously. So having a roadmap even for product ops team have reminds them to keep improving how the product organization works. So yes, I think a product ops team should have their own roadmap as well, which aligns with the overall company and the product roadmap.
So I'm going to switch gears a little bit again for you. What's the biggest anti-pattern or bad practice that you've seen in a product operations function?
Well, I think we've spoken about it a little bit earlier, but product ops is about empowering teams with data, process, and tools. And all of that is to deliver better products faster. When we see product ops teams becoming custodian of processes and processes over people, ensuring that ceremonies and rituals are followed for the sake of it, that is when I believe they are moving a bit away from the roadmap. Also, companies where the roles are distributed, if product ops team move into some of the other roles of Scrum and product owner, I think they would get themselves distracted. So having that sanity that product ops is there to remove friction and improve collaboration is important. And once you lose that I think is a chance that your product ops department is not doing the right thing or going somewhere wrong.
I love that. That kind of overall sense of we exist to help the team the product management function to be successful by bringing process tools and data. But if by bringing process tools and data in an overriding way, we actually slow them down, that's an anti-pattern. So we're there to make it go faster, to make it hum, and to really remember that it's people we're working with to enable.
Well, I think that's the crux of building a good product ops team. And also building a good roadmap is ensuring that we're removing friction.
Helping everybody not step on each other's toes when they're dancing, maybe. So we've talked about your thoughts on product ops. Whose advice do you listen to?
Well, I do listen to you. Yes, so of all the people, your advice on roadmaps and product ops is good. But I also like Rich Mironov and we're Smarty Cake and like everyone else. But Richard Mironov advice on especially around enterprise product management is really helpful. Yeah. And of course, the other, Mind the Product. There are so many good speakers at Mind the Product, which you cannot stop listening to. And yeah, that has helped me a lot in the last few years while I've been building some of these teams.
And in fact, we obviously met at Mind the Product a few years ago, back in 2023. I'm looking forward to going along to it again in a couple of weeks' time, actually.
Well, can't wait to meet you again. See you soon in London in about, 2-3 weeks' time.
So, Amit, here is the penultimate question. That's the one that's maybe the hardest one to answer. After we've had all that conversation, if you had to distill your philosophy on product operations into 1 or 2 sentences, what would it be?
That's a tough one. What would I advise? And I think product ops is about building teams and empowering teams with right data, processes, and tools to deliver better products and remove friction. Product ops teams, we connect the dots across the organization and ensure that the decision which teams make, they're informed and they're aligned to our roadmap and to our organization.
Absolutely love it, Amit. So I always have to end with my Steve Blankism, which is there anything else I should have asked you about product ops that I didn't?
Well, I think we have covered a lot, and I'm as curious to know more about product ops as much as you're. But yes, as we go deeper, maybe topics around compliances, topics around how product ops intersects with user research, we could talk a lot about them.
What is product ops role within compliance then? How does it factor in there?
I think a lot of products which are built these days have to go through multiple compliance checklists with various markets. There's US market, there is ISO. So even in US market, there is ISO 27000, there's CCPA. If in Europe, it is GDPR, multiple compliances. And then there are compliances around personal data, personal identifiable data. If companies start building product without reading and understanding compliances, there is a chance that the product might not get launched. So bringing in legal early, product ops can ensure that there is alignment with legal and compliance team, and also be a pallbearer of some of those compliances while building product could be is something which they can bring their expertise on. I have seen companies building a product but unable to launch because they couldn't go past legal. And yes, somebody should have said that, hey, let's call legal before we build this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stood here thinking, as a product manager, I'd have been asking that question, but I know a lot miss it. I think there's some of us older school product people that think about that thing, those sorts of things, and get ahead of it. I think there's a generation of product managers that are in a slightly narrower mindset. And if product ops is the way of breaking them out of that and driving that cross-functional alignment, then I'm all for it.
Yes, absolutely. Product ops is the way to go forward. And we need to have more and more people in this building this role and this function to reduce the chances of product failure and yeah, of course, have better and more successful products.
Sounds good. Let's keep building products and supporting it with product ops then. So it's at the end, I always like to just give my guests the opportunity to pitch themselves, tell people where they can find them and how they can get in touch. Over to you.
Yeah. Well, to our listeners, you can find me on LinkedIn, Amit Godbole, AMITGODBOLE, or you could write to me at AMITGODBOLE@gmail.com.
Perfect. And we'll make sure those are down below in the show notes as well. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here today. Thanks for today, and look forward to seeing you in Mind the Product.
Well, thank you so much, Phil, for having me. It's been lovely chatting with you about product ops and discovering that you were a dancer too. So yes, excited to meet you at MTPCon soon.
See you soon.
Bye.